And I want someone that can tell me, come on.
October 3rd, 1970, Hollywood, California. In a dim hotel room at the Landmark, the brightest flame in rock is quietly burning down. Janis Joplin, the woman who once tore open the walls of every stage she touched, sits alone, surrounded by silence thicker than smoke. Outside, the world still calls her the queen of rock and roll. Inside, she's just Janis, barefoot, restless, and waiting for a phone to ring that never will. She flips through a magazine, bored. Her band is still at the studio finishing a track she'll sing on tomorrow. There's time to kill, too much time. She calls City Hall in San Francisco, asking about a marriage license. It's Saturday, the office is closed. A small laugh escapes her lips, more air than sound. Then she dials another number, her dealer. A call that will echo through music history. No one knows it yet, but this is her final night alive. In less than 24 hours, the woman who sang like fire and lived like thunder will vanish into silence. Her voice will outlive her, but her body, fragile, bruised, and beautiful, will not. She was never meant to fit, not in Texas, not in rock, not in the world that told women to stay soft, quiet, and careful. Janis Joplin was the opposite of quiet. She roared. Her voice was sandpaper and silk, heartbreak and defiance, all tangled together. When she stepped on stage, something ancient came out of her, something that made people stop breathing for a moment. Before Janis, there had been no woman who could stand shoulder to shoulder with the men of rock and roll, not just sing, but command the crowd, rip the stage apart with emotion. She wasn't just performing songs, she was bleeding them. Each note was confession, each scream was truth. Fans saw freedom, critics saw danger. And maybe they were both right, because Janis lived like her music. No filters, no breaks, no apologies. Every stage, every bottle, every heartbreak was another chance to feel something real, even if it hurt, especially if it hurt. Behind the laughter and whiskey, there was always that shadow, the one that whispered, "You'll never be enough."
And for Janis, silence was never an option. She sang to keep from hearing it. Before the spotlight, before the screaming crowds, there was Port Arthur, Texas, a small refinery town built on oil, order, and Sunday prayers, the kind of place where girls wore pearls and smiles, and everyone knew everyone's name. And in the middle of it all was Janis Lynn Joplin, awkward, loud, unpolished, a storm trapped inside a school hallway. She wasn't the homecoming queen. She was the girl they laughed at. Acne scarred her face, her figure never fit the mold, and her voice, that big, brassy, defiant thing, made teachers frown and boys whisper. When she tried to belong, they voted her ugliest man on campus. She laughed it off. Then she went home and cried. That wound never really healed. Every insult, every cruel stare became another crack she'd later fill with sound and whiskey. Port Arthur taught her something no stage ever could, the pain of being unwanted. And when she finally left, she didn't just leave a town. She left behind the version of herself they tried to bury. In the thick Texas heat, rebellion found her in sound. Janis started sneaking across the state line with a small group of misfits, driving into Louisiana nights thick with smoke and rhythm. There, in clubs lit by red bulbs and neon signs, she heard the blues for the first time. Raw voices, black and beautiful, singing about pain like it was something holy. She was hooked. This was the language she'd been searching for, the sound of the outcast, the broken, the ones who didn't fit in. Leadbelly, Bessie Smith, Big Mama Thornton, they became her teachers, her saints. When the music hit her, something shifted. That small-town girl with bruised pride and shaking hands realized she had a weapon, her voice. A voice that could make pain sound like power. A voice that didn't ask permission. From that moment on, she stopped apologizing for who she was. She wasn't trying to fit in anymore. She was learning how to burn. In 1962, she finally ran. 19 years old, with a few dollars, a notebook, and a hunger too wild for Port Arthur. She hitchhiked toward freedom. Austin first, then the fabled San Francisco, chasing the dream of a life that meant something. Austin welcomed her like a half-open door. Coffee houses, smoky bars, poets and guitarists who didn't look twice at her rough edges. For the first time, she wasn't the ugly girl. She was the different one. And that was beautiful. She sang old blues songs, her voice cracking and shaking the walls. People turned to listen, and when they did, she smiled, just a little. But even freedom had its shadows. In San Francisco, the counterculture was blooming, and so were the drugs. Heroin, speed, pills, bottles passed around like communion. And Janis, who had spent her whole life trying to feel enough, took it all in, believing each hit, each drink, could fill that old ache. Within 2 years, her body was trembling, her arms bruised, her spirit fading. The girl who had fled Texas to live was now dying in California. So she did the one thing she'd always done when life fell apart. She went home.
When she stepped off the bus back in Port Arthur, she was almost unrecognizable. Pale, thin, track marks climbing her arms like dark vines. Her mother cried quietly in the kitchen. Her father didn't say a word. For weeks, Janis hid away, trying to piece herself back together. She stopped the drugs, tried to eat, tried to sleep. Somehow, she found the strength to clean up and stay clean for a while. She went back to school, put her hair up, wore long skirts, even tried to fit in again. Friends said she looked healthy, normal, but that word never sat right with her. Behind the quiet, something was still burning. The stage, the noise, the lights was calling her back. She could feel it every time she closed her eyes. So when a letter arrived from a San Francisco band looking for a female blues singer, Janis didn't hesitate. She packed her bags, cut her hair, and told her parents she was leaving, again. This time, she wasn't running away. She was running toward something. For a brief moment, life tried to be ordinary. After getting clean, Janis enrolled at Lamar University. Dresses pressed, hair high in a beehive, laughter practiced for polite company. She went to classes, wrote letters home, even got engaged. It was the kind of quiet life her parents prayed she'd finally keep. But normal never fit her shoulders right. Inside, the music kept humming, that wild, restless pulse that no church or classroom could drown out. She'd sit in small-town bars watching local bands, imagining the stage lights on her again. Friends noticed her eyes drift whenever someone mentioned San Francisco. That city was still out there, chaotic, alive, dangerous, but calling her by name. And Janis had never been good at ignoring the call of danger. So one night, she looked in the mirror, teased her hair one last time, and whispered, "I've tried being someone else. Now I have to be me." By summer, the dresses were gone, the suitcases packed. The good daughter of Port Arthur was headed back into the storm, this time to find her crown. San Francisco in 1966 was a circus of sound. Guitars wailing through Haight-Ashbury, incense hanging in the air, peace signs and protests bleeding into one another. In the middle of it all, a local band needed a singer. They called themselves Big Brother and the Holding Company. When Janis walked into that audition, heads turned. She wasn't glamorous. She was raw, all nerves, boots, and electricity. But when she opened her mouth, the The room stopped. That voice, a hurricane wrapped in honey, cut through every amplifier. They had found their singer. And she had found her family. Soon, they were playing every club that would have them, tiny stages packed with sweat, laughter, and chaos. Janis would stomp barefoot across the boards, eyes closed, veins in her neck rising as if the songs were being dragged out of her soul. Audiences didn't just watch her, they felt her. And for the first time in her life, Janis felt it too. That strange, shimmering thing called belonging. The misfit girl from Texas had found a home among outcasts, and they were about to set the world on fire. June 1967, the summer of love. 50,000 people gathered at Monterey for a festival that would define a generation.
Nobody knew her name when she stepped on that stage, but the moment Janis Joplin grabbed the microphone, the world forgot to breathe. The band launched into Ball and Chain, and the air seemed to split open. Her voice didn't just sing, it pleaded, commanded, broke. She threw her whole body into every note, her face twisted in ecstasy and pain, like she was fighting something invisible and winning. People stood frozen, jaws open, cameras shaking. They had never seen a white woman sing the blues like that, wild, fearless, real. When the song ended, the audience exploded. Janis laughed, wiped the sweat from her face, and looked almost embarrassed, like she hadn't realized she'd just made history. By nightfall, everyone in the music world knew her name. The phone lines lit up, the reporters came calling, and the misfit from Texas had become a star. For Janis, it was everything she'd ever wanted, and the beginning of everything that would destroy her. Fame came like a tidal wave, blinding and loud. One moment she was sleeping on a couch, the next she was drinking champagne with rock's royalty, making television appearances, trading jokes with Dick Cavett. She laughed, smoked, performed. The world saw a whirlwind of charisma and fire. But when the cameras went off, she was quiet. Too quiet. The girl who once sang to escape the pain was now surrounded by it, in bottles, needles, and beds that never felt warm for long. She'd told friends she just wanted someone to love her back, but the stage was the only thing that ever did. Janis would down Southern comfort like water, her laughter echoing through hotel hallways. Then, when the crowd was gone, she'd sit alone by a window, tracing raindrops with a finger and whispering, "Why can't I just be happy?" To the world, she was a goddess of rock. To herself, she was still that girl from Port Arthur, trying to prove she was worth loving. By 1968, the posters no longer said Big Brother and the Holding Company. They said Janis Joplin. Her name, once tiny letters at the bottom, now burned brighter than the band that helped her rise. Fame had split them apart. Quiet and slow at first. More cameras on her, more whispers behind her back. They loved her, but they also resented her, and she knew it. In rehearsal rooms once filled with laughter, there were arguments now. About set lists, about money, about who mattered most. One night, after a show, the tension broke. Words were thrown, pride wounded. When the dust settled, Janis packed her bags. Leaving Big Brother was like walking on family. They had been her brothers, her protectors, her tribe. But she couldn't stay. The world wanted Janis, not the band. She told herself it was the right move, the next step, the grown-up choice. But deep down, she felt the loss like a cracked rib. She had traded love for spotlight, laughter for applause. And applause, no matter how loud, never hugged you back. She built a new band, the Cosmic Blues Band, filled with professional musicians, polished and clean. On paper, it was perfect. In practice, it was lonely. The easy laughter of Big Brother was gone, replaced by session players who called her boss. They followed her lead, but they didn't know her heart.
On stage, she still gave everything. Her voice bleeding through horns and organs, her body drenched in sweat. But backstage, she was unraveling. The critics said she'd lost her soul. The audiences were confused. Janis felt trapped in a spotlight that no longer warmed her. So she reached for what she knew: the bottle, the needle, the rush.
When the nights got too quiet, she filled them with noise. Bad lovers, wild parties, long hotel corridors where she could scream and no one would answer. She told a friend, "They love me when I sing, but nobody loves me when the music stops." And that truth hit harder than any drug ever could. Janis was a star now, shining, blinding, but she no longer had a home, only the echo of her own voice to keep her company. Summer 1969, Woodstock, a field of mud, love, and music that promised peace to the world. But when Janis Joplin walked on stage that night, peace was the last thing she felt. She was pale, shaking, her voice rough from nights without sleep and mornings that started with whiskey. The crowd cheered, thousands of faces glowing in the dark. But under the lights, Janis struggled. Notes cracked, timing slipped, and for the first time, the fire didn't come. Behind the curtain, she stared into a mirror, mascara running, eyes glassy and lost. "What happened to me?" she whispered. Fame had given her everything she'd ever wanted and stolen everything she needed. The music still roared around her, but it couldn't reach her anymore. She had become both the goddess and the ghost of her own creation. After Woodstock, she disappeared for a while, running from herself, chasing the one thing she could never find again: peace. But deep down, she knew the only way to silence the chaos was to sing louder than it. By 1970, she was ready to try again. The drugs, the heartbreak, she swore she'd leave it all behind. She formed a new band, Full Tilt Boogie, a group that didn't just play with her, they believed in her. And for the first time in years, she smiled for real. The energy was different now. Every rehearsal felt like a resurrection. The band laughed, jammed, teased her for her southern drawl. Janis was their leader, but not their queen. She was one of them. On stage, she was alive again. Her voice had power, grit, hope. That summer, they toured Canada on a train, Festival Express. Days blurred into nights filled with music, laughter, and endless bottles. Janis sang in dining cars at sunrise, her hair wild, her laugh echoing down the aisles. For a brief, golden moment, it felt like the old dream was back. The one before the pain, before the poison. She told friends she was clean, in love, and finally happy. But happiness for Janis was always fleeting, like smoke that slipped through her fingers the moment she tried to hold it. October 3rd, 1970, Hollywood. Janis Joplin wakes late in her room at the Landmark Hotel. Her band, Full Tilt Boogie, is at the studio finishing instrumentals. She'll be needed later for vocals. For now, she's alone, and Janis never did well with silence.
She calls City Hall, asking about a marriage license for her and Seth Morgan. The line goes dead. Office is closed for the weekend. She laughs under her breath, half amusement, half ache. Then she makes another call. This one isn't to a lover. It's to her dealer. Hours later, she heads to the studio, works late, smiles through the haze. The band is proud. The record nearly done. Pearl. That's what she's calling it. She tells them it'll be her best yet. And maybe, for once, she's right. After midnight, Janis stops by Barney's Beanery for one last drink. Southern Comfort, her old companion. She laughs with friends, promises to meet them tomorrow. Then she returns to her hotel room, clutching a small brown bag. Inside, a batch of heroin far too pure.